Hey, what's up, Taylor?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah.
You're walking around your house?
Yeah, I was in one part of the house, but it was a little loud. My wife's working from home too.
Oh,
So
cool. Must be
she's in a
nice. No, I don't know
she's
what
in a
I'm talking
meeting.
about. I'm
How's
like,
the
huh?
how's the work from home been for you?
It's been good. I think that for me, I get to work in a hammock.
Oh,
But the
life.
thing that I don't like is that it's been really hard to concentrate in the pandemic, even though I'm like very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus also, yeah, I don't know. Can you see? Shusha is always at my feet.
Oh, look at that. What's
And
up, Susha?
so there's like there's like guilt. She guilts me. I'm trying to stabilize this. I think I can put a little book underneath. I like to see like what people are using for a desk when
Yeah.
they are video conferencing. One time I was talking to this guy from ABC and he was like, well, yeah, but check this out. And he like tilted it down and it was just like stacks of books. And then he made the camera go back to his face and he's like, he's like, I got kids, it's crazy. And I like the slow breakdown of formality. I like bosses or executives like fully admitting that they're drunk. That's good. That's fun. That's good to me. I like it. Yeah.
I like when people go home to their parents' house and they're in like a weird room with like, I don't know, a collection of baseball cards behind them, but it's some executive. You're like, what is this?
You're like, what happened to you? Yeah, I think that's happened a lot. I mean, like, and I've got my own, like, I guess with my own thing I can make fun of in the pandemic, I guess, is that I overperform. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that that's its own thing. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I must be really annoying to talk about because I went back to school to finish my bachelor's.
Yeah.
So right now, but it's in like international development studies. So it's like right now I'm learning about like contemporary Middle East process, like peace processes and, you know, fun. I like it. But
Yeah.
I think that if somebody's like, their way of dealing with anxiety in the pandemic is like, I need to sleep all day and fuck you for like if you judge me. And I'm like, wow, oh, it's really weird having a midterm during the elections. Can you believe it, guys?
Oh man. I don't even know how I'm dealing with it. I just took like 8 weeks off work to chill. Because I went straight from Kipo into another project and I was like, you know what, I gotta hang out for a minute.
Are you in your parents' house with baseball cards? Is that why
No.
you're saying that?
No, I'm in my house. Just in Highland Park, chilling.
That's a good house. I've been there once. Do you remember when Chris ordered Jack in the Box churros?
Yes.
And everybody thought it was me, and I was really sad that I let everybody down, and I didn't order the churros.
We should explain this to people listening in. So, well, I forget what we were doing. We were hanging out with the writers, right? Just like a hangout night.
We were doing a
And
hangout night. I never got to go to a lot of the writers' hangout nights, and I feel very like envious about that
I,
boys' time.
I think that's the only one we had.
I thought that like you and Maggie and Ben and Chris all like had a little Brady Bunch club and would just kind of like sit together and just talk about, you know,
Go
bread or like whatever.
go karting.
Yeah, go-karting and bread, and then you'd like be driving the go-karts and like hand off bread and like speed away.
There
And I'd
was
be
a
like,
minute where me, Ben, and Chris were working on that one adult TV show together.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah,
I
it was a
saw
good
a
time.
cat. I saw this has nothing to do with that project. But one time I saw a lady with a cat on the leash in Pasadena, and I thought about you guys. That cat looked like, because cats like don't have eyebrows, so you can't read their face, and I couldn't tell if they wanted to be at that Pitfire Pizza.
I don't know. My cat looks very angry all the time.
How is your cat?
She's good. I don't know where she went. She might be. She likes to hang out on my wife's desk while my wife's working.
Yeah,
just chilling there.
So adorable.
So, you're working on TV shows and movies right now, and going to college and doing fashion design.
Yes.
and acting. Are you still acting?
I acted in the last season of Viva. But I don't really act. I know I booked a commercial when I was on Kipo, but I just think that people don't really know what to cast me for. And then it starts confusing myself. And when I thought I was going to do more acting, I just really got confused about like what people wanted from me.
Yeah.
And also, and just kind of a lot of it is like, for me, I think the thing that I do is like, she's the employee at the office that you never knew was hot because she's bitchy and a little scary. And if she fought you, maybe she'd win. That's cute. And it's like, what are you, like, it really, a lot of the casting breakdowns were very like, she can kiss you or punch you. And you're just like, I'm having, it's like an existential crisis reading these breakdowns. I just need to kind of write my own stuff.
Is it a little soul sucking to go to that
for
stuff?
me, yeah. Just like, that's how I was like, oh, this isn't my bullshit. This isn't my passion, because I can't wade through this bullshit. With storytelling and telling stories, I love it. And I'm like, oh, I'll go through that. I'll be like, oh, I just have to do a rewrite. Like with the movie that I just turned in, we got through Act 2 in the original version, and then basically they were just like, yeah, the studio says we need to go in another direction, and I had to scrap the whole thing, all 60 pages, and just do another movie, like do it. And I got so freaked out, I took all my furniture and put it in the middle of my room.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
I just needed to lift shit. Like, I couldn't, right? I just like Leland, my old roommate, came home and was just like, what are you doing? And I had like a huge ass dresser, and I was like, what does it look like I'm doing? Yeah.
Hence the hammock. It's easy to move.
Oh yeah. Oh, it turns out this is like a self-soothing thing.
Yeah.
Well, I like hammocks. I've always liked swingy chairs, but they're like hella expensive, because they're like, hey, would you like to look like you have an offshore account? And you know, like they all looked like this weird, like, I can't believe we're on vacation in Grays. Like, they all are like $12,000 for hanging chairs. I'm like, fuck it, I'll get a hammock. And my girlfriend's Central American, and they like apparently just like hammocks are a thing over there. Yeah. It's just like, it's no big deal. And I was like, oh fuck, cool. So it's not weird that I have a hammock in the house now. This is just a way of life for me and my loved ones. And then it turns out, like, if you Google like therapy swing or something, the compression is it works a little like a weighted blanket. Okay. So the shorthand we have in my house is just, we say Temple Grandin, because Temple Grandin invented the cow press, right? Okay. So I just Temple Grandin myself. Sensory issues. Who's got sensory issues? The creaking is awful, Ezra. I'm really sorry. It's true.
It's cool though. I got to get a hammock for my place.
Yeah, you should.
I kind of want one that like hangs off the balcony or something. Yeah. So I feel like I'm in peril a little bit.
A little bit. Like, if your kid broke their arm or something, God forbid, like, it would be a good story, you know? Yeah. Like, it would be if they fell off the hammock. Yeah, it'd be like, oh, they fell off the hammock, and they'd be like, oh, that's got something to it. It's supposed to like, oh, they fell off the bed. They're gonna
Yeah,
think that that was you. That's just an excuse a parent gives when they're hurting their child and want to cover it up at the doctor.
probably. Oh man, one time we thought like, man, she started walking young at like 8 months, 9 months. And so we were like, damn, she's really booking it. And she was just running up this stairs at the park, and she fell off and did a full like backflip and landed on her face. And
Holy shit.
it was one of those things where I was as soon as I saw her fall, I just ran and tried to, but I couldn't get to her in time. But kids are pretty sturdy.
Pretty sturdy with
Totally
their
fine,
phone.
like nothing. Get back up, run along. Nothing happened.
Yeah, my mom is worried that I'm gonna have a baby because I told
Yeah.
her I would. I think she's worried about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
she keeps telling me that I've just started my career, but I've been
um, I mean, yeah, Maggie's doing it. I mean, she had her kid while she was had a story, and now she's directing, and it works out. It could happen.
yeah, I think that I just push them down a hill. They
Yeah,
turn
they'll be fine. They're like
you push them down a hill and then you talk about them on the internet. They
you
don't
put
last that long.
you put some food in the corner, and no,
They
kids are awesome.
yeah, like sprinkle some water on them and give them a
Uh,
name.
there you go.
Give them a
That's how
name.
you do it.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got some projects going on that I don't know. I think that I thought that I had put too much on my plate with adapting this animation show for TV and then this movie,
Yeah,
but it turned out with the pandemic and everything, it made sense for like, oh, this is good stuff to work on at home. And Kipo's near and dear to my heart. I wish we could do more, but
yeah. It
until that day, I'll occupy myself with other stuff, I guess.
man, it was nice working on Kipo. I don't even think I realized how lucky we were at the time to get to make certain things, because like afterwards I'd talk to people and they'd be like, can you make something that's nothing like Kipo, like the total opposite? You're like,
Oh yeah, like we loved Kipo.
eh, yeah.
Could we? It's its name is a talking bike. Talking bike, and it's the adventures of front wheel and back wheel, and boy, they hate each other. It's like, what are you doing?
We loved Kipo, but like, could you do something that's whatever the opposite of Kipo is? Can we do that?
So it's a pre-apocalypse
There you go.
New York
Uh,
chess game. It's
yeah.
just oh, there was love for that. That was great. For Kipo playing
people
chess.
like chess.
I like chess. I need to beef up on my strategies because my girlfriend's godfather and the little kids love playing chess, and I did pretty well. I got beat, but I did pretty well. I was like, oof, I like strategy.
Yeah. What's your go-to opener? Do you have like a plan you try to do?
Oh, what I do is I look at what the other person did and I do the same thing. And then they
You
go,
just mirror them?
nice.
Yeah, mirror them for a while.
Yeah, it's kind of like how, like I can't play the piano, but I can play a couple songs. So people go like, nice. And then I like sort of gauge what they do in chess based off of like I'll do something similar to what they're doing, and then I'll be like, okay, I think I know their strategy, but the way that they react to the moves is kind of like how I help intuit how to play chess.
Dude,
Since we're really getting down to it, I mean, the gloves are coming off. We're talking about how we fight. I use people's emotions against them.
I remember one time I told my wife, we were at a coffee shop, they had Connect 4, And I was like, dude, I'm so good at Connect Four. I'm gonna kill you. Watch this. And she beat me like 10 times in a row. And then and she was like, I thought you said you were good at this. And I suddenly realized, I'm like, oh, I've only played my 8-year-old sister.
Wait, wait, your sister got older, right? Like you only played your sister when she was 8, or?
She's 10 now.
Oh, that's right. You have a lot of different sizes of siblings. I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah, I got
All shapes and sizes.
a 55-year-old brother and a 43-year-old brother and a 22-year-old brother and a 10-year-old sister.
And are they all named Rad?
They're all named James, except for my sister, who's Jayla. My name is James Radford. We're all James R.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I was like, I know you all have the same name, but I forgot which one was the name. So you're all named James.
James Ronald, James Robert, James Richard, James Radford, James Ronald again, and then Jayla Reagan.
Wow, there's a lot of Ronald Reagan happening in that house.
There is, yeah.
Did they all kill a chicken together?
When I was a kid?
Yeah.
Did I tell you this chicken story?
I was hoping that you'd repeat the chicken story because it's ridiculous. I love it.
Wait, what is... Okay, let's see. So, I mean, the only chicken story I know is I was camping.
Yeah, you were like on a mountain and there was a chicken. Okay, sure, come up.
Come
here.
I forget how old I was, maybe 9.
Yeah, this is the chicken story.
I as a 9-year-old kid, they would cut the chicken's head off at night and you'd cook the chicken. So I was like, I want to do that. But my mom thought it would be too traumatizing if you actually cut the chicken's head off. So give him a dull knife. Which meant I was like hacking away. This is a terrible story.
Like, because I feel like the people that have chicken stories, like childhood chicken stories, I feel like is a very like brown people immigrant thing. Like in my family, we have stories about like the chicken was a pet and then one day the chicken was gone. Mm-hmm. Or like my girlfriend talks this story about like trying to kill a chicken in the garage with her mom, and it's just like crazy. But then it's like, oh, Rad also has chicken stories. The doll chicken.
I remember my grandpa is from Arkansas, so he just told me, he's like, we used to just pick them up by the neck and swing them, and their bodies popped off.
That's what they tried to do in the garage, and it couldn't work. I mean, nobody wants this, but everybody sound off. You're crazy. Oh, Ezra, you got bit by a chicken. I feel like every time I look down, I'm looking at Ezra. But yeah, they tried to do the swinging chicken thing, and it didn't work, so it just kept swinging the chicken. Chickens are dumb. They're easy to hypnotize, right? Is that okay to say?
Poor chickens, man.
Chickens. I'm going to come back as a chicken. It's going to be bad. I'm going to have thoughts and feelings and things to say, and everybody's just going to look at how tasty my wings are. Chickens purr. I know that.
Do they really?
Yeah, chickens purr.
Are you like vegan or anything like that, or do you just?
No, I'm not. I just Do you remember that movie City Slickers?
Yes.
Okay, my sister and I watched it as a kid, and I loved steak, and then we were like eating steak, and I was like a really little kid, and I was so excited about steak, and then she was like, oh my god, we're eating Norman. And Norman was like the little cow, and after that I basically didn't eat red meat ever. And I save it for, I consider myself like a celebration meatist, where like I will eat meat for a celebration, but as far as like every day or something like that, red meat's just not in it. If I go to somebody's house, I will eat whatever they're making though. Yeah. I'll eat whatever they're making. So if that's red meat, whatever, I'll just try. It's hard for me to get around animal fat, like just chewing the gristle on something. Yeah. Because sometimes that's like with different types of foods, you're supposed to eat it. And that's something that's tough for me. But as far as like, I've been a vegetarian and a vegan and stuff, but it's not really, there's a lot there. I don't know how much we want to get into food. I just think we should be like nicer to people.
Yeah.
We just can't, like, we can't eat food the way it used to be, like on Nana's farm. I think if we had like a bigger earth and stuff where we were able to ecologically figure out a way to make it the nutrient dense rich food it should be, then great. But we just, like, the hamburger you get at 7-Eleven is just not going to have that. And there's like a racial issue there with food justice and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I like apples. I don't know. I used to have to deliver vegetables for a job.
That's cool.
I used to have to deliver vegetables in my car.
Nice. I delivered sandwiches for a while. That was fun.
What kind of sandwiches?
It was called Big Apple Deli. I would make all kinds of sandwiches and then deliver them. My first job in high school.
That's cool. I worked at a sandwich place that burned down. I didn't do it.
Did you burn it down, Taylor?
No, but one time somebody tried to get into my car after they burned down a house with a banjo. That's real.
Wait, they tried to use a banjo to break into your car, or
No, my girlfriend at the time had, I think the statute of limitations is over with this, so I can tell the story. My girlfriend at the time, we were visiting her family in Indiana, which was like different. I'm from Los Angeles. My whole family's from the Southwest or Mexico, so it's different over there.
I visited Indiana once.
Yeah, I love it. It's very green. I learned about how to, like, what do y'all call it? Like, just tubing?
Tubing?
Is
that what it's called to watch TV?
Tubing? Yeah, we talk, like, this is how it was in the Kipo room. We talked about like 50 things at once. So, yeah, we talked about Turkey Run in Indiana. We would, like, you would just like drink a beer and then just go down the river. It was gorgeous. Indiana was gorgeous. But yeah, what was I talking about? Girlfriend. Oh, the banjo, right? So, yeah, my ex-girlfriend used to kind of run with a crazy crowd, and there was
a banjo playing crowd. Like the bears at Disneyland. One's got like the jug.
Yeah, that's how I met her. I met her in a jamboree. It was so beautiful. She was blowing into a jug and I was playing a saw.
I love that you went to the saw. The classic. The instrument.
It's mouth harp. The one that the beagle, like Snoopy always played, and the Peanuts. Yeah, no, she like had a friend that was in a bad way and was doing a lot of drugs, and we went back to her hometown to see everybody and also see this friend. And this friend's like being really shady and just gets into the car and is like, drive, 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 and has like a guitar case with them. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, is this just Indiana? This is my first time in Indiana. Is this how people act? And then it turned out that this girl had gone into a house of a neighbor who had been out of town.
Mm-hmm.
They did drugs in the house, slept with each other in the house, and then fell asleep. And then the house, I don't know if they deliberately set it on fire, but it caught fire. And then the two people ran out of the house, but before running out of the house, the girl took a banjo. It was the only thing that she took. And then it was in the car, and she was like, you need to drive me to Kentucky, which is state lines. And I didn't know too much about crime, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to take people to a different state. And I was like, I'll leave. I didn't have any money, but I was like, I'll leave.
I'll take my saw. We'll go on.
Yeah, I'll take my saw and my
Outlaws.
mouth harp, and I'm gonna hitch a ride out of this one horse Walmart town. They have 2 Walmarts, but yeah. So that was that story. Everybody, be happy now.
That was amazing.
I'm the worst. Yeah, that was that.
Yeah.
So that was that.
Um,
I feel like I do apologize for everyone who's. I know this is funny. Hi,
what is
Anna,
this
who's
story?
like on my. That was one story. It's not. I feel like I talk about three things at once all the time, and Rad's no help because you're just gasoline on like talking about multiple things at once because you have an engineering degree, so you're just like you're
I
like, yeah, that's interesting. Let's talk about that. And I'm like, awesome.
I once went to a therapist because someone will ask me a question, and then they'll be like, "What size shirt do you want?" And in my mind, instantly I go, "Shirts. Shirts are made of yarn. One time the sheep attacked me," and then I say, "You ever been attacked by a sheep?" So the person says, "What kind of shirt you want?" And I'm like, "You ever been attacked by a sheep?" And in my mind, that makes total sense.
It makes
And,
total sense to me too. See, people want to know how Kipo came about, and it's basically just somebody saying, "You ever been attacked by a sheep?" And I'm like, okay, so the cool thing about sheeps is, you
I wait.
know,
Did I tell you about the story where my brother was butted into a cactus by a goat?
no, hold on,
That's
wait,
the entire story.
let me close the, hold, wait, this is, let me, I need to put a different switch. I need to take the sweatshirt off. Give me and I'm closing the door. You should be
Okay.
ridiculous. Oh, hey, Brad, you want to see a plant that looks like an alien?
Yes, I do. How's everybody doing in the chat? I'm so confused right now. Welcome to the this was like the Kipo's writers room. Oh, yeah. So me and my brother were on Catalina Island, and we saw, is that a goat up on that hill? And it was just running.
Oh,
It was
there it is.
running like full speed. And it took 10 minutes to get to us as we just watched it run. And it got closer and closer, and we realized it's running at us. Was this the alien plant?
Yeah, I went and I bought plants before this, and it's like a crazy alien plant. It's a mother of thousands. That's what it says.
Dude, check out this garden. Like, this has become Maggie's obsession.
Whoa! Oh,
There's
is
like,
that a vertical garden?
yeah, there's
That's
like
cool.
broccoli and I don't know,
I like that.
squash.
Like does it have like a recording? Whoa, that's fall.
Like a musical recording?
No, not recording. What am I saying? Does it have a auto water system?
Yeah.
Does it kind of sound like a toilet?
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
sometimes I'll be on the phone with people and I have to be like, I'm not peeing. That's our vertical garden.
Vertical gardens sound like somebody is constantly using a very polite toilet.
Yeah, exactly. um, we had a bunch of questions about stuff on Twitter. And we got something here. Do we want to answer some questions?
Sure.
We're getting a lot of Catboy questions.
That's okay.
We're going to do a Catboy episode on Monday.
Oh, cool. Because of Troy?
Yeah. Let's
Troy's
see.
the best. Troy is my son. I feel like.
Let's see. What was your favorite episode to write? That was one on Twitter.
I think that, I mean, all the episodes were great. I just can't stress how awesome it was to work, to like write those stories on Kipo. Because as you guys can tell, one of the other writers told me one time I have a rich inner life. And Kipo was one of those stories where it was like, Kipo was one of those shows where it's like, ooh, I can fold in my fascination with fungus and like fungi spores with, you know, at one point I was researching like execution speeches.
You mean before people get executed, or like executors?
Yeah, the things people say before they die, which was for when Yum Yum gets when Yum Yum gets cured. I was like looking at execution speeches because it was such a serious thing for all of us for Yum Yum to get cured.
Yeah. Did you find any good ones?
I did. Yeah, there was one that I really loved. Oh my gosh, I forgot her name. It sounds like I'm being flippant, but I promise I'm not being flippant about finding it because it really landed. So this is when I was writing the simulation episode in season 3 where Kipo in Mulholland keeps running simulations and going like again. And that's when Yumyan gets cured. There was a speech from a young girl. I believe she was 17. She got beheaded or guillotined by the Nazis in a basement.
Damn.
And she was part of something, I think it was called like the Rose Resistance, and they were all these they were like 18, and she gives a very calm, basically gets led into a basement, gets onto this contraption, and then delivers such a sobering speech about what's wrong with the world and Nazism, and just the executioner said it was the most moving speech he'd ever heard. And then
Damn.
a very short time later, that whole building got bombed. So and the people who had carried out the executions died.
Wow.
That was something that because I wanted to make sure that it had weight, but then I would like take a lot of time writing emotional truths, and then making them cats. And it instantly makes something banal or funny to put a pancake next to a somebody getting cured or whatever. But the thing that the episode that I liked writing the most though was the one where Wolf finds out how we got stocky.
Yeah.
That was
a karaoke.
That was a pitch of mine too, about how Wolf lost Stocky, and Wolf was very special to me because she was gonna be Latinx before, but like Sydney was so amazing, but like Wolf has like an iteration that like is my daughter before she got redesigned. So like a little part was like, I was very, very protective of Wolf because of that, but also because she has PTSD and I have PTSD. And so literally in that episode, a breathing strategy that I use in addition to therapy, medication, and exercise is breathing in and holding it and breathing out.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And then it turned out, it was sort of like this happy accident where it turns out that scorpions, the hairs can register like vitals, and so it made sense that Wolf was using this strategy to calm down. But I was hoping like, oh, people can actually use this. Like, I wish that I knew something like this in high school when I started first getting panic attacks. Let me close the door, hold on. But I've been getting panic attacks since high school, and I just didn't know how to control my breathing.
That's amazing. I never put those two and two together, that trying to get her heart rate down was also the same way you do your breathing.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing.
So that one was, and then also, y'all scared me to death when I found out that I had to write a song.
And, oh man, the best song.
Yeah. I love writing songs. I love writing songs. I love writing music. Again, like working on Kipo, I could use every single part of my brain. And it felt like a full brain workout every time. And I love that. So yeah, I did. I loved, let's see. Are there any like fun things to mention about that episode? You added my name in the karaoke video, or my last name, which was nice.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. It was fun anytime we got to hide stuff in the background.
What's your favorite thing you got to hide?
Well, usually Aang was the one who came up with those. So Aang would just show me, hey, we hit this, hey, we hit that. Um, she hid like I used to have a skateboard company, and she hid the logo sometimes. Or there was like the Seacrest convenience store.
Right, that's a cool one.
That one was fun. But there were a lot of little things kind of hidden in the background that she would throw in. That that episode was one of my favorites too, because you actually got to get Wolf and Kipo together alone, which you hadn't had since like episode one.
Yeah,
That was
that
pretty
was,
fun.
yeah, it was cool to see the way that Wolf affected Kipo and that Kipo affected Wolf. And we got to do an action sequence where Kipo, I think that might be the first might be a turning point. I know it comes late, but no, it doesn't, because it's season 2. That Kipo's done being nice all the time. I think that was something that was happening emotionally for Kipo's character, where that was an episode where you could see her say like, enough fucking around, we're here to fight, I'm gonna rescue my friend.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool.
I think we were calling it like our Rambo moment. I watched Rambo.
There we go.
I watched Rambo. Now I have a cat named Rambo. He's somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you're sitting down to write a script, do you always, I'm assuming you always start from sort of an emotional place? Or where do you kind of start?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's like a person going through blank. So a lot of times those moments will pop up if I'm experiencing like an emotion. I think, yeah, I have to leave a wide berth for myself for the emotions that the characters are going through, because yeah, that's where it comes from. So it's a little less mathy. The
Yeah.
math comes in later when you're trying to beat out the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
How do you
that's where it comes.
how do you balance that? Because sometimes it's different if you're writing your own story, and then it's different if you're in a writer's room where you're like blocking it out on the wall, almost more like math.
Mm-hmm. So like, what's the difference?
Yeah. Do you prefer one way versus the other?
Um, when it's me, it feels a lot more like witchy, I guess.
Yeah.
Because for myself, the way that I don't know if y'all notice, like my brain's a little scrambled eggs, and that's how I think. Like in Taylor Land, that's
Yeah.
totally normal and fine. And when I'm developing a character, I feel like it all comes very organically, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily about creating a whole character at once or creating a whole story arc at once. It's about putting these little pieces in place and watching them grow.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a lot easier. For me, unless I'm doing something that I'm commissioned to do, I
Yeah.
don't like outlines.
Mm-hmm.
I like just kind of building from here. Like it feels like it all just, yeah, building
Yeah.
from the heart. And I think the thing that is the most different working in a room versus working myself is having to shut up and stay quiet. No, literally, I think that pitching, if you don't pitch out a solid idea, you're wasting everyone's fucking time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's at the end of the day. I know that I can come off as like random and scattered, which I totally am, but I'm also a considerate person.
Yeah.
And for me time, I can be random and scattered, and that's how I can work. But in a room, I have to write things down a lot, because otherwise I'll get off track very easily. And if you get off track very easily, then people's attention and energy dwindles. So yeah, it's being a lot more thoughtful about pitching. In the last writer's room working on Vida, I had to be a lot more economical.
Mm.
With Kipo, it was a little different because it was a bit of a all hands on deck situation. So we were just like sometimes throwing everything at the board that we had. A lot of like improvising, like first idea, best idea, like let's go. We had such a fun. I've got some sirens in the background, but
They heard your banjo story. They're
yeah,
coming.
they did. They're coming for me now. They're like, oh, you know somebody that stole music. Um, so yeah, it's like having to be thoughtful about that. I have panic disorder, so when anybody is strongly asserting their opinion, part of my brain goes like, people are fighting, and there were a couple times that I had to go to my office and just take some panic attack meds.
Yeah.
Because there were things that were happening that weren't actually happening. It's just like, as a writer, it's your job, and as a creator, it's your job to assert, to believe in your pitches. And if folks were saying like, make me understand this point, sometimes it felt like arguing. So
yeah,
it was basically like managing my own emotions and being very considerate of the way other people worked.
how was it? Because is it Viva? What was it?
Vida?
Viva is your own creation, right?
Vida was not. No, Vida.
Oh.
VIDA was that's Tanya Saracho. That's a playwright from Chicago that wrote an awesome Latinx, Boyle Heights centered, like Chicano queer story.
Okay.
And it happens to check a lot of boxes in my life. And I mean, this is incredibly reductive, like the way I'm saying it, but the showrunner was basically like, I'm reading people to staff, and I was like, hi, my family's from here, I'm from there, and it was a fit, essentially. But that was not mine. God, I wish it was. The show that I sold didn't go to series. It was for the one that I starred and directed in. That was for YouTube Red.
Yeah.
And it didn't go to series, which was fine.
Was there a portion of it where you were actually doing a writer's room and stuff, or was that all kind of?
We never got to a room with that show, which was fine, because then I got the movie.
Yeah, no, that's great. I was just curious how it felt different if it's your own project versus being in a room, and what those stresses are, you know?
Sure. I think that it's like a ship every time. Sometimes it's your ship and you're making the call. Somebody else is making the decisions. Like, that's basically my understanding of what leadership is not necessarily making the right choices, but you're the one making the choices.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody else's ship, then you obey those choices. And because they're the ones steering the ship. If it's my ship, then I'm making different choices. Yeah. And I've been lucky enough to be an executive producer on things before, so
that's cool.
I'm lucky I can speak to that.
Yeah, sometimes the stress, it's interesting because sometimes the stress could be almost more if you're not like running it. Like if you're, sometimes the stress is whoever's in charge over you. Sometimes the stress can be more like if you're overworking. So it's just it's interesting to think about those dynamics and stuff.
Yeah, I like being, and some people don't want to be in charge of a show. Some people are totally fine just being kind of a gun for hire and writing. The way that I came to writing was very much writing my own stuff and getting recognized for the stuff that I wrote and acted in and directed, and just being a filmmaker. I didn't, I went to school for international development studies and diplomacy. I didn't expect to, I thought I was going to be a diplomat. I didn't expect to be a writer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, people come to writing in so many different ways, and
Yeah.
I really love to be part of the decision making as much as possible.
I I I feel like in some ways, and this is probably different per person, but in some ways, the work from home almost relieves some anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could turn your camera off at any moment during a meeting. You could
Oh yeah.
uh, you sometimes there's those awkward interactions in the workplace that you just don't have to deal with if you have if you're if those stress you out.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think that I'm being more comfortable. I think that there it felt I just don't have to give a shit anymore about certain things. I think that I had pressures about like what I was supposed to look like. Although I did have green hair in Kipo, so that was
Yeah,
fun. I miss my green hair, but I don't. Yeah, I've really embraced the casual. I'm wearing pants right now, so.
yeah. I I don't. I've just worn like sweat shorts since the pandemic started, and I'm actually wearing jeans right now. And the only reason is I got laser eye surgery yesterday, and I went there, and the lady goes, "Oh, you're brave wearing shorts." I don't know why she said that, but then I'm like, I'm going back there the next day for my checkup. I was like, I guess I'm gonna wear pants, but
You're brave wearing shorts.
I was like, all
Oh
right.
my god, I love that. Oh,
Uh,
somebody asked about one of the other things I remember. Oh, I have something in my eye. I don't know what it is. Oh. Somebody was asking about Kipo and Asher.
oh
People
yeah,
love that.
I know that would have been fun if we could have got. I don't know why I didn't think of any other romantic stuff with Kipo beyond that one moment with Benson. Did it ever come up in the writers' room when I was gone?
I think so. I think that yes, and I think that we just see teen girls in love a lot, maybe, and so we wanted to make her life. We wanted to make sure we weren't oversaturating a thing that we are so used to seeing. So we like, yeah, I think that it was deliberate that Kipo didn't have a love interest. I think it was deliberate that Wolf didn't have a love interest. Dave loves himself. He's like a weedy sea dragon. He just puts his little eggs on his hooks that you never get to see. Dave has secret hooks, but we don't get to see them.
Didn't we have Dave fall in love with a praying mantis that kept biting his head off at one point?
Dave definitely. I think Dave was in love with a mega turtle.
A megaturtle. No, there was that too.
That's the way
Yeah.
that Little Breezy, I think, started. Is that Dave was
Yeah.
in love with a mega turtle?
Yeah, that
He
was supposed to
definitely
be.
was an interspecies dater.
I do remember that.
But because, I guess for myself, I always imagined that because Dave could sort of regenerate on his own, then he was kind of asexual
Yeah.
reproducer.
I,
So,
I kind of assumed the same thing. Like I figured occasionally he might split into two.
mm-hmm.
Were you there the day I pitched that idea? I was like, what if they split into two,
I feel
and then
like
they Rochambeau, and one of them just walks off, and they never say anything about it ever again.
I love that. I love that.
But then everyone looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, okay, we won't do that idea. That was a lot of the writers' room. Hey, what if we did this? And like a lot of silence. All right, I guess we won't do that.
No, I think we did most things. That's your perception, Rad. There are like because one time you like came in and you said something and then we made a T-shirt about it. Like
Yeah.
it was because one time what was it? It was like
The birds thing.
birds are weird because they don't have lips and they can't kiss you. And then you drew a bird with lips and it was frightening. If anybody wants to freak somebody out, draw a bird with lips for them. It's really
horrifying.
frightening.
But not as horrifying as a bird with a beak.
Well, now if you see it with lips, so you can't unsee. Can you imagine me with a beak?
Oh, look
Like
at that.
just my face and a beak. How would I eat? How would I
You
kiss?
eat bird seed.
That's a terrible food. I'm already mad.
Uh,
Yeah, but I'd say my favorite episode is was writing how Wolf got stocky. I kind of want to get a tattoo of the scorpion for
wow.
sure. Still, the one that only has two tails instead of one, or two tails instead of three.
Yeah.
And I want yeah, and I want a Kipo Asher spinoff because they can be together now, and people didn't know about Asher too much.
You know, I've been actually talking to some comic book publishers about doing some spin-offs. So if you want to do a
Yeah, I do.
Kipo Asher spin-off,
I
maybe that's
do, of course. And we get to talk about like, you know, Asher's little journey.
yeah.
Asher's little journey. What does that
Do,
look like?
do you know? I'm kind of curious from the writers' room. I thought the idea for them was from Chibu, but was it actually from you guys or was it from Chibu
I
for
think it's from
Asher?
Chibu.
Okay.
That Asher was non-binary.
Yeah.
It wasn't from us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just happy that it existed.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get to explore that character very much, other than we did the hair change at one point,
Yeah.
but I think Chibu. Oh, just a sec.
Hi.
You want to say hi to?
Hi. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
So, so if you did a Kip Asher story, where would it take place? What would happen?
Oh man. Well, we're gonna go to like we're gonna find out some shit about Asher's family.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, and we have to kind of do a little origin about them. And but we're not gonna be able to do without Kipo, you know, and that's you just got to see it.
There we go. I always kind of wanted to do something with Troy and Benson because I felt in my mind Troy's dad actually grew up down in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always wanted to do something where they actually went down to Mexico and you could see what's going on down there.
Yeah, I would love that.
I thought that would be dope.
Troy can like use his magic in Mexico. There's some good. My friend and his dad did that. My friend's dad is Mexican, but he's adopted, and so his dad now has passed. But one of his cool memories is like they both went down to Mexico to try to find his grandfather.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, because he was adopted? He hadn't met him.
The dad hadn't met him. Yeah.
Yeah.
The son was his biological son.
Yeah.
But yeah, my girlfriend and I want to do a road trip to go to Nicaragua to like see her family from here, which would be kind of wild.
Wow.
Because
So
I haven't been to Mexico in a minute, and it's changed a lot.
how far is that trip to Nicaragua?
It's not that far. I know Mexico City is a quicker plane ride than New York. It's like 3 hours to get to Mexico City, and then I think to Nicaragua it's about the same trip as New York for a plane. How people would do a cross country, like a, I don't even know what you call that. Yeah, cross country trip.
Good.
Cross countries trip. Cross countries. We'd take the dog. Yeah, because Nicaragua is right next to Costa Rica, and I have never been to Costa Rica. But yeah,
Costa Rica is really cool. It's a pretty country.
I would love like if Troy and his dad could do like a trip to a different country. That would be crazy.
Yeah, I thought it'd be awesome to just see any other parts of the world, you know, in the Kipo universe. Would be fun and explore other stuff. Well, I think our IG live only goes for an hour.
Oh, really?
If
Okay.
you can. But thanks for hopping on with me.
Yay! Oh, people wanted more Roberto and Troy scenes. I love that. That's like, it's like it made me cry when we made Roberto because that's like it's my dad's name and it's modeled after my grandpa and he was such a cool
Yeah.
guy. I have wait, hold on. I can show a picture. Is it gonna kick us off like right now?
No, no. We have a few minutes.
The quickest. Here, do we have? I think that this was one of the pictures that.
Oh, nice.
This is. You see? Yay!
That's great.
That's my abuela, and that's my abuela. Yay!
That's awesome. I love the way that scene turned out, where he kind of he's excited for. At first, he's like trying to hook him up with Wolf.
Yeah, he has little flowers, and he's like, "Oh,
Uh,
I have a picture of my grandpa talking to in the '80s, talking to like a fucking rockero." So just like imagine Bret Michaels, but Mexican.
okay.
Just like in my grandpa's house, and my grandpa's in his like old ass chair, and he's like, like he's my grandpa's definitely saying something to him, and the guy's just like wearing like pointy boots, and his like moosed hair is like down to here, and he just would talk to anybody. He was the best.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Taylor. Well, I'll talk to you soon again.
Cool. Thanks for this coherent,
Yeah.
very easy to follow talk.
I think this is gonna be the fan favorite. All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.